Victory is mine! Ah!
Stewie Griffin tried to kill his mom, build a time machine, and fix a British accent that makes no sense.
Often been told that I have a British accent. Oh?
But here's the thing, none of this came out of nowhere. Underneath the laser guns and martinis is a child who's been ignored, dismissed, and occasionally forgotten at the airport. This is a breakdown of Stewie's entire trauma and how Family Guy turned a literal baby into the most psychologically unstable character on television.
And I'm gonna be high.
If you've watched any early season of Family Guy, you've probably noticed something. Lois kind of hates Stewie. She doesn't engage with him. She never acknowledges his intelligence, and on more than one occasion, she left him in the care of a literal talking dog with alcoholism. And Stewie? He responds in the only way a hyper-intelligent toddler can, by declaring war. His rage isn't random. It's what happens when you scream into the emotional void for years and no one even looks up from their meatloaf. Even his infamous Kill Lois arc isn't really about murder. It's just the only language he knows to get attention. When you're a baby and no one listens, you either cry or you build a death ray.
Oh, Stewie!
Oh, I've made a terrible mess, haven't I?
If Lois gives Stewie zero emotional validation, Peter gives him zero attention at all. Peter doesn't hate Stewie, he just forgets he exists, which is arguably worse. There's no malice, no grand "I'm not emotionally available" speech. He just disappears, physically and mentally, whenever Stewie's around. In one episode, Peter leaves Stewie at the airport like he's forgotten an umbrella. In another, he trades away Stewie's toys for alcohol money and shrugs it off like it's just another Tuesday. This isn't just sitcom neglect. This is the kind of invisibility that turns kids inwards, fast. The result? Stewie develops what psychologists call hyper-independence. He becomes the baby who trusts no one, relies on no one, and carries emotional trauma the way most toddlers carry snacks.
Brian, I don't want to lose anybody. I don't want to lose anybody.
And honestly, who could blame him? Peter's not even a fun dad. He's more like a chaotic neutral roommate who accidentally created life and then gave it a stupid name. What makes it even worse is that Stewie knows exactly what he's missing. He sees other kids with functioning parents, rare in this show, but still. He hears them talk about dads who remember birthdays and show up to recitals. Meanwhile, his dad is trying to convince a raccoon to do his taxes. So what does Stewie do? He compensates. He builds machines, creates alternate timelines, reprograms his emotional reality to make sense of it all. Because the truth is harder to face. If your own dad doesn't want to connect with you, maybe no one will. Peter isn't a villain. He's not cruel. He's just absent in the most emotionally confusing way possible. And that's his own form of damage.
Wait a minute, who are you?
Especially when you're a child genius stuck in a household where the family dog has more consistent parenting energy than your actual parents. Neglect doesn't always look like yelling. Sometimes it looks like, oops, I forgot I had a child again.
Boy, I sure miss Lois. I wish she was here to clean up all this stuff.
Peter, I can't take it anymore.
Honestly, it's played for laughs, but the underlying message? When your dad treats you like a punchline, sooner or later, you start writing your own script. And in Stewie's case, it comes with a built-in self-destruct button.
Well, this is it. I guess so. 1, 2, 3! I'm sorry, I can't! I want to live! I didn't really think we were gonna do it!
If Lois ignored him and Peter forgot him, Brian did something even trickier. He made Stewie believe he could be trusted, and then slowly chipped away at that trust, one betrayal at a time. Brian is the only character who regularly talks to Stewie like he's an actual person. They go on road trips, they share drinks, they've time traveled together. They're best friends. Until they're not. It's easy to forget that Stewie is, a baby. But Brian doesn't forget. He uses it. Whenever Stewie gets too real, too emotional, or too close, Brian flips the switch. You're just a baby. That's not condescending. That's gaslighting with a leash. Their dynamic is basically emotional whiplash with a jazz soundtrack.
Morning.
Good day to you, sir. Wait a minute, what the hell?
For Stewie, that's betrayal. For Brian, it's just normal. Their relationship is what therapists would politely call codependent. One moment, they're saving each other's lives. The next, Brian's mocking Stewie for needing support in the first place. It's not always cruel, but it is confusing, especially when Brian is the closest thing Stewie has to a consistent connection. And let's be real, when your healthiest bond is with a narcissistic alcoholic Labrador, that's a red flag. But here's the catch, Stewie keeps coming back, because even a bad connection feels better than none at all. It's a pattern a lot of people know. You trust someone, they let you down, you swear you're done, and then they do one nice thing and you convince yourself it meant something. Sometimes the people who save you are the same people who break you. And if you don't know how to spot the difference, you start to believe they're the same thing. Here's the truth. Stewie Griffin is a brilliant, angry, emotionally destroyed little kid. He lashes out not because he's evil, but because no one ever gave him a safer option. In another universe with better parents and an actual bedtime, maybe Stewie would have been just a quirky theater kid. But in the Griffin household, he became the baby who built death lasers to feel something. So which Griffin do you think does the most damage? Lois, Peter, or Brian? Drop your vote in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you too would fake a British accent just to cope with your family dynamics.